Supreme Court ruling on trans immigrants celebrated for correct pronoun use. On Thursday, May 11th, the U.S. Supreme Court unanimously ruled in favor of a trans woman seeking asylum after she faced persecution in her home country of Guatemala and is now fighting deportation. Santos-Zacaria has got another chance to make her case to the Fifth Circuit. What made the ruling even more worthy was that the Supreme Court used Santos' pronouns and name during the process. In the ruling, the first majority opinion written by Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson mentions she, her pronouns throughout and also uses Santos-Zacaria's female name, although it uses her dead name in the first reference to her, that being the legal name under which she filed the action. The ruling was unanimous. 6 other justices joined Jackson's opinion, and conservative Justice Samuel Alito wrote a concurring one in which fellow conservative Clarence Thomas joined. Alito's opinion used the correct pronouns as well. Scholar and trans rights activist Alejandro Caraballo tweeted about the ruling, praising the use of the preferred name and correct pronunciation. Lawyer Andrea Reyes also praised the court. But there were a few who objected to this too. The ruling has come amid a wave of anti-LGBTQ+ bills in state legislatures. You know, it's something so simple as using pronouns, right, that makes somebody happy. I mean, I can't believe that I live in a world where we're happy with crumbs because somebody won't serve us a freaking plate.
Right. Yeah.
Period.
But I am actually shocked by this. I'm shocked that the Clarence Thomas and all these people that it was greeted positively. I mean, that's also very discomforting that I'm so surprised by that and so like, oh wow, like you said, crumbs.
Yeah. We're surprised that Alito and Clarence Thomas would be human.
Right. Well, hello, and not on the take for it, you know, like getting some money for it.
Yeah. It's a very powerful display of humanity as well. I love saying her name, Ketanji.
I love her.
Jackson. Yeah. I love saying her
Brown.
name. Brown. Yes.
Miami girl.
Yes. 305. It's a powerful light that it's used in a legal document with the Supreme Court. And that is something powerful that we can see that, you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Like, we can make headway despite the mounting legislation against us right now. Like, there is some sort, who would have thought like a trans person from Guatemala? Guatemala would set a precedent in the United States legislation.
Especially with this current Supreme Court. That's what's so shocking to me.
Yeah. And you know, Faye, you said at the end of your story, not everyone is happy about it. And I can tell you, this is sending off alarm bells and alarm bells and alarm bells throughout conservative circles, because they're seeing, oh, wait, this may not be the rubber stamp to the red state legislation that we've been doing. Last year, Justice Kavanaugh authored an opinion that upheld trans people's rights to be covered under Title IX. This ruling comes out. It's sort of it's not validating trans per se, but it is certainly a step in the right direction, because a lot of times they're just like, oh, trans.
Dead name through and through.
Dead name through and through. And then last week there was an opinion that the Supreme Court could have set up, could have used language to entrench Dobbs even more and empower red states to have influence over blue states. And the Supreme Court shied away from that language. So the fact is, their social tinkering may be coming to a little bit of a slowdown, if not a halt. And that is scaring conservatives, because at some point, most likely, unless he's a vampire, which I'm not ruling out, Clarence Thomas will die. And we'll probably get a chance to replace him, and then it's anybody's game at 5-4.
And I think your observation is the most important related to this story, and the reason is, of course, we cheer this conclusion. When I read the decision, 2 things really surprised me. Obviously, Alito's concurring opinion that Clarence Thomas had weighed in on surprised me. Here's our conservative alternative point of view agreeing with the majority decision is strange,
jaw-dropping,
and it really was, and this is a kind of nuanced case, so you can't move it too far, but that did surprise me. And then second, the big issue here is exactly what you say. Will the court go along with the radical conservative and evangelical movement that we've seen across the country, because they're clearly states' rights issues, and the majority of the court supports, and broadly it looks as if they broadly support state rights. But when it is challenged into a federal level, the question is the applicability of the state decision-making on a federal role. And there is just this sliver of, no, they won't go that far, that they'll support the idea of what you do in your state, but you can't export it on a federal policy level based on the constitutional principle of across America, which is what this case was, which is what is the issue that was at the heart of the case that John references. That would be super interesting, because if the courts rule to Florida, you can do what you want, but if you try to export that and create justifications based on constitutional and other federal, you may not win. Now, too early to say, but John's observation is really, I think, the most important thing from this Supreme Court decision. And even with that optimism, because I'm expressing optimism, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I hope it doesn't.
Like Cinderella.
Right. We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show from Happening Out Television Network. In the model of PBS and NPR, we educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of the LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the stories going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.